before we get started on this project, I'll be bringing the camera down so you can see what's going on. But I do have a few things I want to share with you guys before we get started. So let's get started here. First of all, last week we had a good time doing these canvas tennis shoes. I don't know if you guys are seeing them. Hi Mary, I caught you this time. Okay, so last week we did these tennis shoes, canvas tennis shoes, which were super fun to do. And we painted them with, they were already denim shoes, and we painted them with Daisy and Fluff and In the Navy. I think that's it, just those three colors. And then I thought about it to figure out how to get this fringed raggedy edge. And so I just used a straight edge blade. Hi Mary. Hi Joanna. Hi Lynn. Cool. So I just used the straight edge blade, and you guys, I did a real short video. I don't even think it's 10 minutes on how I use this blade to fringe these shoes, and it makes all the difference in the world. It really makes them fun and cute. So I just wanted you to see these, and if you missed the video, you can catch it on replay, and then there was a separate post. It's up on YouTube also, but there's a separate short little post on how I fringed the shoes. So if you happen to have some shoes at home that you think you would like to fringe up, I recommend it. And then I was working on a sample board last night. When you guys aren't sure about how to do something or what kind of an effect you're going to get, I really recommend that you just do sample boards. And so I'm not good, maybe I should say I'm not confident in mixed media. I watch Royce do mixed media all the time, and I can watch her for hours and hours and hours. In fact, I do. She's probably, I don't want to say the only person that I watch consistently, but she's #1 on my list because I'm just so fascinated with how her brain works and how she can put things together, and it doesn't come natural to me. So another reason why I did this board with the mixed media on it was, it looks like there's a big glare. Let me turn down my light, that's probably why. There. There's another reason is to do these boards is I wanted to know what would happen if I could make this crackle on top of the decoupage. Now I know there's a product out there because I've watched a couple of videos on it this week, and I wanted to know if I can make it work with the products that I carry first, and if I can't make it work, then I'll order those products, because I do think it's a really neat effect to have that crackle finish over your decoupage. And so this is my test board to see if that would work. But this test board was for 2 reasons. It was something for me to practice on putting multimedia together, and to try out, hi Julie, hi Janice, hi Lisa, to try out that technique and see if I can make this crackle. So we'll see. But as long as I have you guys' attention on this, let me get a little closer to the camera. I wanted to know, because like I said, multimedia is challenging for me. And so I have these acrylic, I've got the camera on backwards, so it's always hard to figure out. I have these resin keys that old-fashioned keys that I pour it up, because anytime I'm pouring molds, I always pour extra. So just in case I want something to add to something, I don't have to pour it. And I was just thinking about sticking one of these keys on here somewhere. And of course I would paint it gold. I would use the Posh chalk, not the Posh chalk, the Posh pigments, which are really pretty colors, and there's 3 golds in that. So I was thinking about adding a key to it, and I have 2 different kinds of keys. There was that one. So imagine it being one of those pretty golds. Hi, Kay. So you guys give me thumbs up or hearts if you think that the key would look good on there. I also, this isn't finished being painted. This was just a demo in one of my lives. But this is one of those resin bees, and it's partially painted. So I could stick a bee on here or the keys. So I don't know, but I have to say, this was actually a fun piece to do. Let's see. Mary, you want to know if you have to wear gloves? I never do. I mean, I never wear gloves when they tell you specifically to wear gloves. So I'm not a good follower of the rules. So I'm going to put the camera down. Gold key. That's what I'm leaning for, is the key also. So thanks for confirming that. That helps. Like I said, I'm not real confident in my multimedia skills, and what I'm working on today, that's exactly what we're doing, is multimedia. So I'm going to put the camera down, get my iPad so I can make sure I have you guys in focus. Okay, I think that's pretty good. What do you guys think? So, Julie, yes, I did make the keys with resin. I have several molds that have resin or have keys in them, and they have the, not only do they have the keys, but they also have the keyholes, and I use the keyholes a lot on furniture. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me get back up close to the camera. I had to move the camera far out so that you guys could see this whole bulletin board. It's quite a setup in here, I'll tell you, but I'm happy to have it all in my spare bedroom and out of my living area. That was just making me crazy. So Joanna, you asked who is it that I watch? I watch Roycycled Treasures. She's a person, her name is Royce Hunt Belle, or Royce Belle Hunt. And she is the designer of most of these tissues that we're going to be working with today. And I just love, she's a local Arizona gal. She lives in Safford, Arizona, and she's just amazing. Lisa, you're ready to watch? Yay! Hi, Julie. Hi, you guys. I'm so happy to see you. Mary, you're working on a piece right now and struggling with it a little bit, so I get, okay, good. It's not just me. All right, so let's get going, you guys. Let me clear this stuff off of here. So, you may or may not know, but this fox in a suit is one of my tissue designs. And I'm just in love with it. And ever since he came in the mail, I've been like really excited, thinking, what am I going to do with him? What am I going to put him on? And the background is a London newspaper, and you can actually read all the articles that are on there. Sometimes they're just so blurred up you can't read them, but on this one you can. And I just love him. And you know, he's pretty big, he's 20 by 30, and I was like, okay, what can I put him on? I've been anxious to do something with him. And then I saw a video the other day, and this gal was doing decoupage on a bulletin board, and I was like, yes! And I already had this bulletin board. It was just in my spare bedroom, so I went and grabbed it and have been thinking about it for the last couple of days. So we're gonna do multimedia, we're gonna do a collage, and I told you that's my weakness, but I'm gonna do it, and you guys can help me. You can give me suggestions of what works and doesn't work, so I'm counting on you guys. The tissues that I pulled out to go with this paper, this is all Roycycled's decoupage paper. I love this Harlequin, and I love that it's in this color, kind of like spilt coffee kind of color. And then this one, I always love Royce's tissues, but this one is just full of all kinds of yumminess. And this is definitely, she's definitely the queen of multimedia, because there is everything going on in this. But this is perfect for doing small projects, just like this girl on here. This was done off of one of Royce's project blocks. So then, you know, you end up with smaller pieces of decoupage to work with, and this is just really awesome. You can use this on books or on smaller pictures, on, you know, just anything, and you can just cut up all of these elements, and that's what we're going to do with this today. And then this is called vintage newspaper. And again, I just thought it will lend itself really well to cut up and put different pieces in different places and help pull all the colors together here. So I'm going to move these out of the way, and we're going to start with our fox in his suit. And if you guys are trying to think about something for Father's Day, I think that fox in his suit would be super cool if you have a man or a son or a father in your life. So to prep my bulletin board, I put 2 coats of white fluff on here, because when you're decoupaging, you always need to have a light color underneath so that your design on top shows at its best. And you know, I laid this tissue all out on top of the cork on here, and it was, you could see the brown beneath it. So you really do need to do your prep work. And it took 2 coats. I was really surprised, because the first one just soaked in and I could still see the brown cork on here. So this has got 2 coats, but you can still stick your push pins in. It's still porous enough for that. And this particular tissue comes with a white border around it, which I don't want. And so I started to take it off, and I thought, no, this is a good thing to show you guys. So anytime you're cutting your tissue or wanting to resize your tissue, which we're going to be doing on that, a good way to do that is with a wet brush. And I like to use, this is just out of my cheapo, it's called Artist Loft, and it's a number 12. But it does hold a lot of water, and that's why I like it. Hey, Nature. Good to see you. I'm glad you were able to make it on. Hi, Jeannie. Joanna, I've lost count. I think I've got close to 20 designs now. All of them are up on my website, and I'm also a retailer for Roycycled decoupage tissues. So any tissues you ever see me using are available on my website. Okay, so I've just wet the edge, and all I'm going to do is just pull. And by doing that, you get a really nice, natural, organic effect. And I do this all the time. If you guys watched my video on the cowboy and cowgirl, you would have seen me do this. Especially if you're going to add other things to it and blending. This is the way to do it, to get a really, see, just laying it down on top of here, you can see, hopefully you can see. Can you guys see where I've torn it and where I haven't, and how much nicer and organic that looks? So, let me see if I can move that camera up a little closer. You guys are really far away. Hopefully that's better. It was challenging trying to figure out how to do this big piece in this room. So I'm going to just continue along here. Hi, Florence. I have to tell you, designing the decoupage tissues are really fun, really relaxing. I like to do it in the evening when my day is done. It's just relaxing to me. I really enjoy it. And I get so excited when the UPS man comes with a delivery. It takes about 2 weeks usually, and it's like Christmas, because you know what you see on a computer screen isn't what you see in person. Computer screens can never do justice for color or texture, and so you know, I'm always like nervous until it gets here. It's like, okay, is it going to be what I expect it to be? But this guy, I just love him to pieces. I named him Fox in a Suit, but I should have named him after that song, What Did the Fox Say? I love that song. Hi, Sandra. Okay, so you guys, I didn't even tell you who I am. We just kind of got started here. So I'm Deborah Bucher, with Deborah Bucher Designs, and I am a retailer for Dixie, Belle and Wise Owl paints. I'm a retailer for Roycycled decoupage tissues and Deborah Bucher design tissues. And I also am a retailer for Would You Bend and Posh Pigments. I feel like I left somebody off the list. And I come live every single Tuesday at 4 p.m. And if you guys knew what my day has been like, and I'll tell you about it, it has been a crazy day from the minute my feet hit the floor when I got out of bed this morning. And when I say crazy, not crazy in a good way. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to make the live today, but it all worked out. So I do come live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I also have a YouTube channel. And I would love it if you are new to my Facebook page, if you would like my Facebook page. And I would also love it if you haven't already, if you would go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm working really hard on building my library and my subscribers on YouTube. So that would be awesome, you guys. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when you have a business like this. This is the fun part. There's lots of it that's not so fun, like uploading products onto the website. I do get excited about packing orders though. That still just brings me a lot of joy every time I get an order. And I have the best postman on the planet. And I'm not joking, he's wonderful. If I get an order in after he's already been here, if it's not too late in the day, I can send him a text and he'll swing back by and get it. Because I do try to get orders out the same day or the next day when you place them. That's typically what I do. Now, if I'm out of a product and I have to wait for it to get here, then I'm at the mercy of everybody else's shipping. But I do try to keep a really good stock of things. So, have you guys done a lot of decoupaging? What's your favorite thing that you've done in decoupage? Because I feel like everything is fair game to decoupage. And there's so many choices out there of designs to use. Okay, one more edge. And I wanted to be sure that you guys saw this technique of cutting your tissue with your brush, because not everybody has seen that. And unless you're fussy cutting out a specific thing, or you actually do need a square edge or a straight edge on something, like on that piece that I showed you at the beginning, I did need some straight edges on it, so I cut them. But on the edges that didn't need to be straight, then I went back in and did this wet tearing. And in case you aren't aware, all the tissue that I carry is 18 pound, which is a really nice weight to deal with. Any less than that, it's not impossible to decoupage with, but it is trickier. This is a perfect weight. And these tissues are 20 by 30. And I am going to start making some of these designs in the project blocks, because I've had a lot of requests for that. Okay, so this is our guy. And so I'm going to start by decoupaging him on. And truthfully, you guys, I think this is going to be a 2-week video, because there's going to be a lot to do in taking all of these tissues apart and deciding what elements to get placed where. So, and I don't want to rush it, because I'm super, super excited about this, and it's actually going to be hanging in here in this room. And so I really wanted, and because multimedia is not my gift, I'm working on it, but it's not my gift, I want to be sure that I take my time and do it right. So if you wonder what I'm doing here, I sell these rulers. These are flexible rulers, and I love them. And they come in handy, like anytime you want to, like if I was wanting to draw lines around this, I could take my ruler and wrap it around in a straight line, and then take my pencil or pen and draw a straight line around there. So these bendable rulers come in super handy. And so I just want to make sure I've got him in the center. So that's 8 inches, and that's a little over 7. So we'll move him over and do it again. So almost 7.5. Pretty close. Seven and a half, and then the top is 2 1/4, and the bottom needs to come down just a skosh. That's 2 1/4, so what is this? 2 1/2. Okay, we'll call that good. It's good enough, good enough. And it looks straight. What do you guys think? I love the brown edges, and I really love them now that they're torn and irregular. And you know, one of the tricks is that you can go in and add further dimension to your pieces just using wax. Okay, so I'm going to start on this end down here. So I'm just going to pull this paper up. I don't want to reposition it. And my little tray. This is Satin Top Coat. I prefer to use any of the top coats or varnish. If you're using Wise Owl, their varnish is beautiful for decoupaging and finishing your piece with. If I'm using Dixie Belle, then I prefer to use the satin or the gator hide, but they've been out of gator hide now for so long. So what I'm doing is I'm putting down a generous coat, especially because I found this to be absorbent. So now I'm just going to lay that back down like it was. And I'm going to take a little bit of plastic wrap, like clean on wrap, and I'm going to start here in the center. And by using this cling on wrap, that helps prevent tearing your delicate tissue when it gets wet. And if you haven't done much decoupaging, there's a couple of things you need to know about it. Your paper has elasticity to it, and so it will stretch and shrink as you're working with it. So that's one thing to understand, that when it dries, it's going to shrink back down. When it's wet, it can stretch. And so when I put this down, I didn't go as far up as I needed to go. And when I get to the other side of this, I'll show you a tip of not getting too close to your edge. But you can't see it from this angle, so I'll tell you when we get to that side. And if you have questions, I'll look in just a minute. All down really nice. Okay, so now that I've got it positioned and adhered from the top, I'm going to check your questions. Hi Nancy, hi Cheryl. Okay, no questions. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it to this edge, and then we'll continue to put down the medium, whatever it is you're using. I do not use Mod Podge. I'm not a fan of it. I don't recommend it. And the reason I don't is because it's not archival. And over the years, it's going to yellow and crack. And I just think that you put too much time, effort, and money into these works of art, and you want them to hold up and last. Now, one of those tips, you guys, is I offload my brush out here, and once it's offloaded, then I work up to where that paper is laying. That way I don't get a big glob of medium. And I just want to lay it down, and again I start in the center, and you just do a section at a time. Another thing, when I'm teaching classes and people get all freaked out because they can see a wrinkle, let's talk about the wrinkles. Decoupage is, if you look at decoupage over the years and different artists that do decoupage, you're going to see wrinkles. It's part of the texture. It's part of the medium. We expect to see wrinkles. And don't stress over them. And then there's another trick when you're all done, and many of you have done this and some of you may have not. But that trick is you can actually put a hot iron on it and iron out a lot of your wrinkles. And anytime you purchase decoupage paper from me, I always include iron-on instructions with every purchase. So You know, if you order 1 decoupage tissue, you'll get 1. If you order 5 decoupage tissues, you'll get 1. And I usually put it in your packaging. So if you, because I had somebody last week tell me they didn't ever get, that they'd ordered and they didn't get iron-on instructions. And it's highly possible that I did miss somebody, not by purpose, but if you didn't look in between, because I put them inside your packaging because I always like to package your decoupage tissues so you see the pretty when you open your package. But when you do the iron-on method, then you get very few wrinkles. And if I end up with a few wrinkles in this, I'm not going to be upset about it because it's supposed to look like an old newspaper. And newspaper would have wrinkles in it. By its inherent nature, it would have wrinkles in it. So if I end up with a few wrinkles on here, that's going to be okay. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. What I might lose sleep over, you guys, is how to add on all my other elements to make it pleasing to the eye. So that's not where I'm the best at. And it was funny because I was watching Royce Sunday night and she was doing a beautiful piece that she'd actually been demonstrating for 2 Sundays. And I did comment, you know, she just has such an eye and such a talent for multimedia, and I wish I was better at it. And she was like, it's so natural to her, she doesn't know that that doesn't come natural to everyone. And she said, her comment back was, well, you use multimedia all the time on your furniture pieces. And that's like, well, that's true. When you put it that way, that's true. Okay, so I'm doing like a 2-inch strip each time, and then I start in the middle and work out those wrinkles. And by doing that, you can also lift it still, gently lift it, and work out wrinkles as you're going along. Love this guy. It's so funny that the words to that song, What Did the Fox Say, popped into my head. It hadn't popped into my head until I started working on this guy. So I know the background is the London paper, but he looks a little Scottish to me. Love him. Joanna, don't ever say you're sorry. Just if you got questions and you missed it, just go ahead and ask. So the medium that I'm using, and that's a really good question, and maybe somebody else was wondering too. The medium that I'm using is Belle Satin Top Coat, and you can use any of the Belle top coats to decoupage with. This is satin, there's matte, so if you didn't want any shine to it, there's a gloss. The gloss is kind of thin, so I don't recommend using the gloss for decoupage. and gator hide. But Dixie Belle has had an ingredient issue with gator hide for many months now. So, and if you're a Wise Owl person, because I carry both Dixie Belle and Wise Owl. So if you're a Wise Owl person, then Varnish is beautiful for decoupage. And whatever medium you start out with, that's what you want to finish with on the top. So if you were decoupaging something that you wanted it to be water resistant, then you might want to start and finish with gator hide if it was available. Varnish is water resistant, so that's another reason why using Varnish is a really good medium to do your decoupage with. And the reason I say that and use these is because Mod Podge, which is what you see so many crafters using, and frankly I just kind of cringe when I see it, because Mod Podge is not archival and it's going to yellow and crack in time. So, you know, you want your artwork to last. I have a little grandson. I have two little grandsons. And I saw one of them in the womb, but I've never seen them in person. They're great grandkids. I just see lots of pictures. And both of them are great grandkids, but they're cutest boys. I mean, they're just really cute. And I just think this would be really cute hanging in a boy's room. I don't know if it's their style. One of them, their dad is like motocross, so there'll probably be motorcycles hanging in his room. And the other one is really kind of outdoorsy. So I don't know. I think if I had a young boy, I would think this would be really super cute hanging in his room. Or if I had a husband, I think this might be awesome to have hanging in their office. But I don't have a husband, so I'm going to hang this in my own craft room, which is like an office. I have an office, but it has all my travel pictures in it. Give me some hearts up if you guys are liking this. So Joanna, you say you have some, so you have some top coat, is that what you're saying? And it's nice to be able to reuse products that you already have. Okay, so I'm offloading away from my edge. Did you see how that leaves a line there? And that's what we want to avoid. That's why we offload down here and then work up to that edge. And you want to be generous with it, don't be stingy. If you're generous with it, you're less likely to have air bubbles or areas underneath that didn't get product at all. And if that happens, it's not the end of the world. It happens to all of us. If you've got a bubble underneath there, just poke it with a needle and a small brush and just try to work the medium in underneath. I really like using the plastic wrap. It does a really good job of smoothing out your wrinkles. And if you guys are interested in ordering any of these products, the top coats or the decoupage tissues or any of the Dixie Belle paints or Wise Owl or Posh pigments, I did put my website link at the top of the Facebook page. So I didn't tell you guys how my day started. Been an unbelievable day. I got out of bed this morning. Oh, I keep my coffee grounds in the refrigerator. I got out of bed, opened the refrigerator to get my coffee out. Sorry, I needed a drink. And the light was off in the refrigerator. You know how when you open the door and the light goes on? No light. That happened to me before. So I knew my refrigerator was out. And I couldn't believe it. And so I get out my paperwork on it because the refrigerator is 5 years old and I paid for a extended 5-year warranty when I bought it. I bought all new appliances before I retired, just so things like this wouldn't happen. Get out my warranty and it expired like 12 days ago because my refrigerator is 5 years old. I bought it April 22nd of 2017. How do I know that? I looked at the paperwork and could not believe that my refrigerator was out. So I bought it at Lowe's. I called them, asked for the number to call for repair service. They gave it to me. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making this up. I was literally on hold for an hour, listening to terrible music and really stressed because, you know, with the high cost of everything these days, I'm just like the rest of you, just trying to make my dollars stretch far enough that I can afford to put gas in the tank. And I just grocery shopped. And of course, I had a freezer and a refrigerator full of food. So I finally get answered after an hour of on hold, and it's some guy from India or Pakistan who doesn't speak very good English. And so he was having difficulty, you know, getting the spelling of my name, which is not difficult, and getting the model number of my refrigerator. And after all of that, then he was going to put me on another hold. And after, you know, spelling my name 5 times for him and explaining to him repeatedly what's wrong with my refrigerator. And then he tells me he's going to put me on hold again. I was over it. So I just hung up. There was a bubble under there, and I'm just going to fix it right now. So I called my daughter and told her how stressed I was, and that I was just going to have to get, since it's not under warranty, then I was just going to have to find a refrigerator repair service. And my granddaughter goes to Northwest Christian School. It's a private school. It's a wonderful school. And my daughter, when she needed a plumber, and she'd had one give her really bad advice, she used the referral list for tradespeople at the school. And so she looked up the refrigerator repair guy and said he had really good references, and to give him a try. So I called him. He actually answered the phone. I wasn't on hold for an hour listening to terrible music. He's local, speaks English, and told me he could get to me this afternoon. And he did. And I gave him the model number and the make of the refrigerator and everything. So when he got here, he told me he'd already looked up parts. And because we're living in a different world these days, and microchips and stuff that we need to manufacture cars and refrigerators and other appliances, are either not getting manufactured because they come from China, or are on a ship floating around for 6 months and never make it to the manufacturing. So he did, before he ever got here, he called to see what parts were available, and he told me coming in the door that, you know, it depends on what was wrong with it, whether parts were going to be available. That translates to, if the parts aren't available, and that means I gotta go buy another refrigerator. And I bought a really good refrigerator, and I bought the top of the line because, like I said, I was retiring. And you know, I bought a new washer and a dryer. I bought a new refrigerator. My car's paid for. You know, I was just trying to do the things that you want to do when you're retiring, so that I wouldn't be stressed out when things happen. So he comes, and he's super nice and is truthful with me right up front. And then he takes a look at it, and you know, I showed him, because it had broken down one other time when it was like 3 years old. And so I showed him the receipt from that and the parts that had to be replaced. And he was super nice and super honest that, you know, it could end up being a problem, and I might have to end up getting a new refrigerator, just depended on what he found. Well, long story short, he was able to fix it. He can't guarantee how long it's going to stay fixed. It could stay fixed for another few years. Let's hope it does. But anyway, that was my day. It was very stressful, but it had a good ending, and I'm grateful and happy for that. So you guys, we've got the fox in the suit is all nicely decoupaged. I really love them. I need to see, let's see what time. So we're almost at the end here, but it would be fun to pick out one piece, and I want you guys to help me pick out the one piece to add on here. So Let me show you what the choices are. There's still a few of you hanging in there. So I love Harlequins. So I'd like to put some Harlequins on here somewhere. And I have a whole sheet. I think this piece would be the easiest to pick something out of. So I'll put these away for the moment. There's so much going on. So you guys look this over. I don't want to lay it too close on there because that's still kind of damp down there. I'm trying to give you guys a view of the whole sheet. And you guys tell me what section do you think I should start with? Cut off a section and add it on up here. Hi, Nikki. Yeah, Joanna, I find just doing a section at a time, you still have lots of control. And I could have easily done the iron-on method on here, but I think, because I do a lot of decoupage, I do think that it's good to be proficient in both ways. I love to teach the iron-on method in classes for people who are new to decoupage because they feel so satisfied and rewarded by their efforts when they get the iron-on method. But I do think it's a good thing to know either way because some things you just can't iron on. All right, so you guys, you guys aren't telling me what you think. What do you think I should start with? All right, if you guys aren't going to give me a suggestion, then I'm going to start with this piece right here. So I'm going to cut it with the water like we did all the edges. So I want all of that yummy fern. There's a little bit of Harlequin in here. Okay, so you guys see how I'm just taking a wet brush and drawing my line of where I want this to tear. I'm going to move over here so I can be sure that you guys can see. And then I'm going to just let it tear itself. Need a little bit more water up here. Okay, so I'll get this section out of my way. And now we need to decide where to put this delicious piece. Joanna, if you have the choice of 18-pound paper, if you've got that choice, I would always select the 18-pound. Well, this works out nice. Since we already have a straight edge here and a straight edge here, What do you guys think? Give me hearts if you think that looks good up there. Yay, I see some hearts. Yay. Okay, so we'll put this piece down, but you can see now what's going to be going on in here. How you start layering and building up your pieces. So again, I'm going to just lay this down like we did before. Add some medium, which is the Satin Top Coat, and I'm going to take it right up here to the top. This is a fun piece, you guys. I'm really loving this. And, you know, all my new papers from Roycycled came in, and I showed them to everybody last week, I think. And they're just gorgeous. I mean, I say this every time she comes out with new designs quarterly, and I say it every time, but I think this time is my favorite. So I'm going to lay that down, use my start in the middle of it. Camera's probably far away for you guys, but I don't think I can get it any closer. Let me see. What happens when I do this? It's sitting right on the canvas. Actually, that works pretty good, huh? So I started up here in this corner and put down the medium and working in the center and working my way out. And this is going to overlap. And you just do a section at a time. Take your time. Enjoy the process. Decoupage to me is so fun. I literally want to decoupage everything. And another thing when I finish this, before we go, I want to talk to you guys about hanging on to every single scrap and piece of paper you have. And I get this question every now and then too. I keep my satin in one of these FIFO bottles, but unless you're working and painting every day like I do, I don't recommend that you do that. I recommend that you just keep it in the jar that it comes in. Because if you're not using it regularly, like the paints and everything, they just set up in those FIFO bottles. They get a skin on them, and I just don't recommend them unless you're using them every day. I use them for classes because they're super convenient for classes. I'm just saying for your own personal use, unless you're like a furniture refinisher that's painting every day. Now, just keep in mind where these edges are too. I can go around with the brown wax and they'll look naturally brown and awesome. some things I just get so excited about, and this is one of those pieces that really gets me excited. Have I already said that a couple of times? And on the frame of this, because it's not a very attractive frame, the wooden frame going around this, I'm thinking about either putting some wood you bend on, or maybe even going to the Rehab Habitat, because they usually have trim that goes around your floorboards, and finding a nice piece of trim. And I don't know if you guys saw my bird on the wire, but I did a really cool texture that I also learned from Royce Hunt Belle. And really put a beautiful textured framing on this. Is what I'm thinking. So again, I'm offloading down here. And putting a generous amount on, and then I go up to the edge and make sure I get it good there, and lay it down, start in the middle, and just start smoothing this beautiful fern out. And thank you so much, Royce, for such beautiful paper. It's like magic. Oh my gosh, I love that. Isn't that pretty, you guys? Hi, Paris. Thanks for joining us. Patricia, Tony, Elaine. Okay, so you guys, we are almost at the end. I just wanted to share one more little tidbit with you. We will continue working on this next week again because there's several stages that we're going to go through besides just the decoupage. There'll be the shadowing and shading with the wax, and like I said, I want to change out this frame. So there's going to be a few sessions on this. But if you are new to decoupage, I would encourage you to think outside the box. And so a few weeks ago, I was at a thrift store up in Heber Overgaard. My daughter has a place up there, and it's called Junk Warehouse. It's just a really cool place up there. She's got a great picker's eye, meaning she knows how to find really great stuff, and her prices are fair, and she has a lot of cool stuff. So while we were there, I found this really cool music book, and it's from I saw a date on here, 1950. But you know, it's old, it's yellowed, the pages are kind of like the same in here. And so I actually used a few pieces on this piece, like over here. So those things are really great to watch for. Not just songbooks, but you know, old books that have print or pictures. You know how they would illustrate in some of the books. So that was cool. And then the other thing, when I said don't ever throw your scraps away, like this is left over from the rooster tray that I did a couple of weeks ago. But I have this whole thing full of scraps and pieces left over from different projects. I mean, some of this could work on here. In fact, I should take some of this out and just put it over there with my stash. So I would just encourage you that when you have leftover pieces, you never know that you might just need a little piece for something, and just keep it in your stash. So that's my tip for the day. Don't get rid of any of your little pieces. I pulled this out because I think this might be cool on here too. I went through this last night, but I must have been tired. And also getting one piece down leads to the next piece, to the next piece, to the next piece. You know, it's kind of like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. So, let me move the camera up. Hello. Okay. Well, that's it, you guys. Hi, Tori, Tony, Patricia, Sherry. A lot of you came on, and I didn't see you coming on. So thanks so much. I'm here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Like my Facebook page so you get notified. And also, if you go over to YouTube and subscribe to my station, or my channel, I'm really trying hard to build it. And again, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a good night.